Thank you. As always, we leave the best to the end. And it is my honor and privilege, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce to you Dr. Aziz Bassoul, the director and the CFO of the Contracting and Trading, the C.A.T group. Now, Dr. Bassoul holds a PhD from Columbia University. He's also a remarkable work experience from IBM, the World Trade Corporation at New York, and many others. What makes Dr. Bassoul's achievement all the more extraordinary is his background in teaching and publishing. Please join me in welcoming our keynote speaker, Dr. Aziz Bassoul.
Good afternoon. First of all, I would like to thank you for your presence, and I wish to congratulate Director Majdalani on the launching of this program. And I have 3 reasons to thank him. The first one is to have invited me to address you. The second one, I'm not a specialist or a theoretician of project management, but I think I have dealt with project management all my life. So the second reason is he had allowed me to delve into the concepts of project management in order to present to you a story around the project management. The reason for which I want to thank him is to have allowed me 15 minutes of talk only. And I thank you for this. I am an adept of short meetings, short speeches, short addresses. And I always compare a good speech to the dress of an elegant woman. It has to be long enough to cover the subject and short enough to attract interest. So having said that, I'm going to tell you a story in about 15 minutes. Because I think that if you cannot tell a story in less than 15 minutes, it's going to be a very bad story. So this is also a message I would like to convey to you. Now, the story I want to tell you about is a real story, the building of the Porto Arabia project in Qatar, in Doha, Qatar. Now, I'll start with a quick introduction, talking about the project overview and some general information. And then you see here I've used terms of project management that are scope, time, human resources, procurement or subcontracting. This project, if we talk about time and budget, went over budget and beyond schedule. I'll tell you why. And from there are some lessons to be learned, but it's a great achievement, and we have derived many benefits from this project. You have the Pearl project here. It's a multiple-use development consisting of villas, apartments, schools, marinas, 5-star hotels, and upscale retail and restaurants. Now, what was the mission of C.A.T? This project is divided into several parcels. From parcel 1 to parcel 18. It has been divided like this. C.A.T mission was to build as from parcel 4 to 18, and we were supposed to build the low-rise buildings, some shopping malls and podiums that are parking structures. The client or the employer was the United Development Company of Qatar. The project started with a value of 940 million Qatari riyal, which is slightly over $250 million, and it increased to about 340 to $350 million. We were asked to start on the 2nd of August 2006, and many of you will remember that where Lebanon was on the 2nd of August 2006, we were amidst the Israeli war. We were supposed to complete the project at the start from parcel 4 to 16 in 881 days, which is, 2.5 years. But then the client added some variation to the project, and there were 3 addendums, and the project stretched to the end of 2010, beginning of 2011. The built-up area was about 250,000 square meter of construction. Now, imagine what this means. If you take a building, 10-story building, with 2 apartments per floor of 250 square meter, okay, you would have 5,000 square meter per building. So we are talking here of 50 such buildings, to give you an idea about the level of construction. The client has asked for a performance guarantee, and the performance guarantee initially was 10% of the value of the contract. So it was 94 million Qatari riyal, or about $26 million. It increased later on to about $30 million. The advance payment guarantee, which is the money that the client gives you to start to mobilize and to start and to help you, with the purchase of equipment and the procurement in early material, was 15% of the value of the contract. And it required a guarantee of $38.7 million. What I want to tell you is that we are very proud that a Lebanese bank, I'll quote it because it's known, it's Byblos Bank, issued both guarantees, and these 2 guarantees, the performance bond and the advance payment, were the largest guarantees ever issued by a Lebanese bank for a single project. What you have here, in the middle you'll see the town of Doha and the areas of reclaimed land, because all of it is a reclaimed land 20 kilometers northeast of the center of Doha, where you have the arrow. It's basically what is called the Pearl Project, where we had Porto Arabia. Now, Pearl is the general term for the project. Porto Arabia is one section of it. And then there was Viva Bahriya and so on and so forth. This is an aerial view of the project. Now, the Porto Arabia section is the one to the left. This C.A.T was concerned in this section. And on the right side, it's interesting to see that they have reclaimed also small parcels of land. And I understand that the ruler of Qatar wanted to offer, these small parcels of land with individual marinas to the leaders of the Arab world. So I think now he is not going to do that, because many of them has disappeared since then. This is how the project is supposed to look. Now let's talk a little bit, come back to the concepts of project management and talk about scope. Now what you see here is really from parcel 1 to parcel 18. Now parcel 1, 2, and 3 were given to another contractor, and C.A.T was responsible ultimately for parcels 4 to 18. What you have in blue are the towers. Now the towers, C.A.T was not involved at all in the big apartment building. We were involved in the townhouses, which you see on the picture in green. Parking structures, which you see in the pinkish colors. There are 3 parking lots, and these are 6-story building of parking. Plus, what you see in red are the retail nodes. Now, retail nodes are mostly shopping areas or shopping malls. And the part which is in light green or pistachio color is called the boardwalk, which is the area around the lake. Now, what we have put here is we have described the project and how it has been, how the scope has been subdivided, you know, between, in the different parcels, between townhouses, retail nodes, which are noted RN, and podium, PD. There was, remember, 3 podium, and then mostly townhouses and shopping malls. This is a view of, just to give you the level of finish of one retail node. This is another retail node, and you see on the back of the picture the high-rise building. Now remember, we were involved in the first front, you know, around the lake. To tell you about time, this is basically how we were supposed at the beginning to deal with the different sections. And we had planned to finish, you know, between section 4 and section 16. Remember, we had about 2.5 years. Then we were given section 17 and 18, and the contract stretched to 30th of April 2009, but definitely there were delays, and I'll explain why. In terms of structures, some of you who probably are engineers would understand that these are called S-curves. This is how the project is supposed to move from beginning to end. So we had 2 S-curve, a slow S-curve and a fast S-curve. And basically what has happened, you see what you have in red, the curve in red is the actual. Since the beginning, we were late in mobilizing and in moving ahead. Often, you know, because of supply of material, and often because of the changes that the client wanted to introduce into the project. This is another way to show the schedule and how it has developed. The green was the anticipated time period for each section, you know, townhouses, retail node, or parking, and the red is how it ended up going and stretching to end of 2010, beginning of 2011. This is a barbarian chart when you look at it. You know, it's an organization chart, but this shows you the level of sophistication of such an organization, where at one point in time you had 5,000 workers on the site. 5,000 people at the same time were managed on the site. The green bars are, you know, the initially expected time frame, and of course the yellow bars are the what happened in reality in terms of construction. And from time to time you see that the yellow bars are much lower. For instance, in September 2007, the same September 2008, September 2009, this corresponds to the Ramadan periods, you know, of the construction, where, you know, the activity drops. Procurement and subcontracting is a very, very important issue when you organize such a project, because sometimes you cannot handle the whole project by yourself, so you have to resort to subcontractors, or you have to joint venture with other contractors. The chart you have here shows you the flow of procurement for just one item. So imagine how many charts like this we had to build to come up with a project like that. This is the procurement. I don't know why it's why we have this color. Became pink. It's okay. Huh? Yeah. Yes. Thank you. So this shows the procurement or subcontracting of the work between C.A.T and other contractors. What we did, we tried to encourage the venue of Lebanese contractors. And basically we had, apart from C.A.T acting on its own on about 40% of the project, we had joint venture with contractors like MAN, Ashada, Mawad Iddi, and Dibbas for electromechanical work. And this gives you the scope distribution or the subcontracting between the different contractors. This is another way to present the previous chart. I was telling you that the project was completed very satisfactorily, but it went behind schedule and over budget. And as you know, in project management, the three major elements are time, budget, and performance or quality. We haven't been very good in terms of schedule and budget, but we're extremely good in terms of performance. But this has a cost. This is basically how it looked when it finished. This is what you have on the big picture here, except that in the center of the lake, what you see, they had planned the construction of a four-season hotel, and this hasn't been built yet. Now, when we are asked what has happened, why did you go over budget and behind schedule, we have lots of explanations. And we have determined that some of the explanations could have been better controlled with controllable factors and some non-controllable factors. So what I have done here, I have listed some of the controllable factors on which we could have acted to improve the budget and to shorten the construction period. This was a huge project, and maybe we didn't expect to mobilize as quickly for a job of this magnitude. But more importantly, we had less than a week. I would say we had 3 days to answer the client whether we would go ahead with this project. And at the time, in 2006, we were intending to have a good entry into Qatar because we were not working in Qatar. So we thought it was a good entry into Qatar to engage in this type of project. But since we didn't have time to estimate the cost of all the sections, we concentrated on 3 sections. One of townhouses, which is the apartments and the villas, one on the shopping mall, and one on parking. And we extrapolated our estimate. And this is something which should not be done normally. Another reason was that the contract was strongly biased in favor of the client. It was a lump sum contract, which is a fixed contract, and we were allowed to claim, which is very important, is to organize the procurement, the stores, the cost control function, and this is something which probably was not done in the most optimal way given the difficulty of the project. The non-controllable factor, fortunately, were a little bit less. The start of the July war, Qatar putting pressure on developers. That's what I explained to you, that they wanted the Qatari to develop the land given to them by the emir, and the fact that our subcontractor worked well, but not with the attention of detail that we really expect ourselves. While we were building the Porto Arabia, remember there was a collapse in the Gulf market with the problems of Dubai in about 2008, and the consequence of the collapse in the Gulf market was that you had the prices dropped, and the client, UDC, did not have as many buyers, and because they didn't have as many buyers, they became very stingy. Their cash flows were very bad, and they were very strict and very rigid with the contract agreements with the contractors. Now, of course, the lessons to be learned from such a project is that a contractor, whatever its size and its strengths and its financial capabilities and other resources, should not get into a project of this magnitude unless he's sure that his financial resources, his manpower resources, and any other resources are adequate to complete such a project within time. And of course have budgets and plans, and never be rushed into estimating a project partially, but almost turn down a project if you're not sure about your price. And of course organize all the service functions from the start. This is this point 5 that I've noted in bold is extremely important. Both the clients in the Gulf and the consultants have become very, very sophisticated. The contracts are very biased toward the client. The consultants are very biased toward the employer or the clients and less favorable to the contractor. So you really have to be sure of having engineers capable of understanding such contracts and of having engineers who can put immediately claims to the consulting engineers and indirectly to the consultant since the start and build up cases all the time. Believe me, this is the most important point and the major lessons that a contractor, whether C.A.T or a smaller contractor, would learn. And this is a message I want to convey. Don't get into it unless you have very legal engineers with legal background. So this is probably a new area. Now, despite all the difficulties, we think we have done well, that it's a successful project, as you see. It has allowed C.A.T a strong entry into Qatar. We have strengthened our engineering team. We have trained our manager for future jobs, enhanced our procurement and subcontracting base, and we think, and I'm almost sure, this is the largest civil construction project in C.A.T's history, $350 million. C.A.T is better known for oil and gas projects, pipeline, mechanical and electrical engineering, where definitely we have been into project in the $500 million, but this is one of our largest projects. So this is the story I wanted to tell you. I think I've conveyed it in a short time. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bassoul. The lessons that we've learned are invaluable, as a matter of fact, and I'm so happy you were able to make it in 15 minutes. Again, another check mark for the project management. That would conclude our ceremony. What I'd like to do is invite you right now for our little cocktail on the outside, little commingling and networking. Thank you so much, and we look forward to welcoming you on the outside. Thank you.